Using third-party data or services in a web application often requires you to use an API. But what exactly is an API? When you visit a website, you enter a web address in the address bar of the browser. This sends a request to the web server, and that responds with some content, which is usually HTML. When the browser displays this content, you see links to click on, forms to fill in, and so on. The content is laid out and formatted using HTML and CSS, so that a human can easily understand it. This is the web interface for that content. It's meant for humans to understand. If a program wants the same data though, it doesn't need HTML or CSS to understand it. All the program wants is the data. It doesn't care about the text color, font size, and so on. So in order for some software to be able to read this more easily, we have an API, or Application Programming Interface. When the program makes a request to the API, it returns just data, with no formatting. The web interface is for humans, whereas an API is for machines. An API is basically a way for two pieces of software to talk to each other. Let's have a look at an example. This site, Random User Generator, generates random data about people. This data is useful when developing or testing software that needs user data, so you don't have to make it up yourself. Every time the page is refreshed, we get details about a new random user. Name, email address, photo, password, and so on. This is the web interface for this data. However, to use this data, it's not really very convenient to extract this data from this page. You could copy and paste each item of data from the web browser and then paste it in your code, or insert it into your database. Alternatively, you could write code to parse this HTML and extract the data from it, a process known as scraping. However, this is error-prone and very fragile. Any changes made to the HTML could break the code that extracts the data. Instead, we want to be able to access this data programmatically. This is where an API comes in. The API for this particular website is available at this URL, adding /API to the end. If we open that in a browser, we get some data about a random user, although this time without all the visual formatting. As with the web interface, if I refresh this, we get some random data about another user. It's the same data, name, email address, and so on, although this time it's in a format that is much easier for a piece of software to read. When using the API, what is returned is just data, which is all another program needs. So basically, the web interface is for people to use, whereas the API is for programs to use.